Hello, can you hear me? I can see Marcia, Denise and Barbara so far. So we've got Marcia in Iowa, Denise in Leicester, that's where I was last week, and we've got Barbara saying rain today in Cumbria, garden is happy. So at the moment we've got sunshine, but we've got thunder. So if for any reason we get disconnected, that will be why. It's literally grumbling around us. So if the people that are here so far, if you can just let me know that you can hear me. Marcia's saying you can hear me. Brilliant, thank you. And I can see that we've just got 12 people that have just jumped on, so I'll wait a few more minutes. Hi Heather, thank you for being here. Caroline, good morning. Hi Linda Lee. Caroline in British Columbia, hearing me, fab. So are you all keeping well? What have you all been up to? Barbara's saying good sound. Oh, brilliant, thank you. So this is the new microphone that I've been using for the last couple of weeks, and I think I've kind of, with a little bit of help from the switcher people, worked out the sound, but I don't want to say too much because that's going to like just jinx it straight away. But hopefully, if Barbara's saying the sound's good. Hi Maria in Caerphilly. Hi Lisa, hope you're well. Denise is saying can hear me fine. Brilliant. So I'll get rid of that for a start. So everything looks as though it's recording, and you should be looking at my desk. Dolores and Kevin saying hello. Well, hello to you. Barbara's saying made 2 Christmas cards today. Oh no. Oh dear. I am not starting on Christmas yet at all. Oh, dearie me. So Caroline's saying finally a few degrees cooler, so out on my deck this morning. Oh, lovely. So British Columbia, that's Canada, isn't it? And I've been seeing reports that Canada are going through some massive heat wave or something at the moment, which has been sounding shocking, so I hope everybody's okay. Hi Cherie, hope you're okay. Hi Susan. What a great star card. Yeah, so while I remember, let me just say happy 4th of July to anybody that celebrates it. And I decorated this card in red, white and blue specifically for you guys. Sylvia is saying hello from Mendoza, Argentina. Wow, welcome Sylvia. Hi Karen, hope you're okay. Thea, hi Ashley and everyone. Sunny and warm, 1 minute, torrential rain the next. Yeah, that sounds about right. So Caroline is saying, yep, British Columbia and many fires. Oh, well, keep safe, Caroline. Are you near them or are you a distance away from them? I just know over the last week or so I've been seeing things pop up on YouTube saying that Canada have got this massive heat wave going on, and then I did see something else about fires. Yeah, Marcia, stay safe, Caroline. It's mad, isn't it? Sue is saying happy 4th of July to our American friends. So I don't know if Vicky is on here at the moment. Don't think I've seen her name. But this, I think, was what Vicky was asking about last week. And I have done gatefolds similar, but not with interlocking sections. So I just had a bit of a play with it very quickly a couple of days ago. And these are what I came up with. So this is what I'm hoping to try and show tonight using Canvas Workspace. We're Barbara's saying we are certainly a worldwide get together. We are, aren't we now? I know, it's amazing. Australia's colours are green and gold, just saying. All right, Cherie, I'm with you. Dolores and Kevin are saying we need heat here in Maine. It has been in the 50s. Marcia, heat wave out west to last another 2 weeks. Wow. Oh, well, happy birthday to Karen's husband, because it's his birthday today. Right, so what I'm going to do, as I say, I just thought I'd show you these two cards and just explain a little bit about them. They're kind of relatively simple to make. One thing I would say though is with these kind of cards that interlock, I personally feel there's always going to be, you know, like a stress on where they interlock. So like this one, for instance, on the star, because this side of the star is literally, if I open it up, only being held by this section here, to me that's always going to be a weak point. So, you know, try this by all means, but bear in mind, you know, how whatever shape you use is going to lock together. So this was my first attempt, the heart, and then I made this one yesterday and decided to just cut it in some, this is Night of Navy Stampin' Up cardstock, and the stripy paper I already had. I think it's some retired designer series paper. I think it was one of the Christmas ones from last year, the one that had like the snowmen and that kind of thing, and then I just cut a white star. So that's that one. Now with this one, when I set the dash lines, I set them at exactly 2 and 6 inches, and you know, it does lock together, but when it closes, see what I mean about this star here only being held in place by that little bit, it does meet, but when I made the first one, which was the heart, I'll open this one up, I actually moved the dash lines ever so slightly outwards to give a fraction of a bit more room here, so that when this one locks together, there's a little bit of a gap. Now I personally prefer this one with the little bit of a gap. I think there's just a little bit, you know, more wiggle room, but I'll show you how to make them in Canvas Workspace, and then you can play around with it yourself. Obviously play around with your shape that you're going to use. The heart isn't as flimsy as the star, although these two are the same height. This has just got a little bit more holding it onto the card. So again, you know, I'm just going to show you how I came up with it. You may come up with another way of doing it once you see how I put these together in Canvas Workspace. So Maria's saying, had 5 grandchildren this morning, so our 5-year-old has been giving me makeover including nail varnish. Bet you look beautiful, Maria. Caroline is saying not too close at the moment, but lightning warnings with no rain, so could cause more fires. A small town north of Vancouver burnt to the ground a few days ago. Oh my dear. Well, Caroline, stay safe, and everybody pray for Canada, please. So we've got, is it Sidrat? Good afternoon from Norfolk. And then just before I flip over to Canvas Workspace, and again, just to let you all know, I'm going to be using Canvas Workspace for computer because it's going to help me with the X and Y coordinates for placing the dashed fold lines, but you don't have to put the dashed fold lines in if you don't like them on, you know, on the ScanNCut. You can use a scoreboard, or if you've got a scoring blade on your paper trimmer like we have on the Stampin' Up one, you might want to put your, you know, your fold lines in manually. That's entirely up to you. As I say, literally, I just, in the last couple of days, I've just managed to get, I didn't get home until late Wednesday night. So I've literally only had, I think I did this on Thursday, or I may have done it on Friday, I can't remember. And then I did this on Friday, and I did this one yesterday, Saturday. So I've not had a lot of time to play with it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I also just want to thank Alison, and I've had this card for some time, and it's been sat on my desk to remind me to thank Alison and Jim. Alison normally joins us every week, and literally every week it's got buried under something else. She made me this card for my birthday, and I know sometimes that she says, or somebody else says, I'm watching you on the 50-inch TV. So she's put 50-inch and she's put me in a television screen, and this was, I think, it probably is the very first, looking at the projects, the very first Facebook Live I ever did for makers when they came to my house. And she's used that picture, and she's put, thank you Ashley for your precious time, on this beautiful card with a ScanNCut. And then inside, I won't read everything, but she's put things on this card that you have taught me, and she's put the bunting shape from last year, offset on the ScanNCut, shadow outline for words, on the back handmade card labels, DIY envelopes, and the font Grandma's Garden. So how lovely is that? And as I say, it's been sat on my desk for weeks, and I feel really bad that I've kept forgetting to mention it. So I specifically put it out and put it right in front of me today. So thank you, Alison and Jim. And then I don't know if any of you have seen my video that went live this morning and the blog post. So for any of you that are football fans, or has got a football fan in your life, and England got through the quarter-final last night, this is a embroidery stitch file that I purchased, and all the information is in the accompanying blog post. And the reason that I did this was there were no instructions within this stitch file. It's on offer at the moment for £3. I think it says it's normally £5.50. And there were no instructions of how to sew it. So I literally just hooped some stabiliser, put the camera on, and filmed as I went along. I did make a mistake in that when I was putting this ribbon in to hang it, I didn't put it in far enough, and it didn't get caught within this outside stitch. But again, if there had been instructions, I probably would have known how far I needed to put it in. So basically what I did, once I'd cut this out, I just put my ribbon on the back, and I used white thread, and I just stitched over it with my sewing machine so it hangs. But as I said in the video that went live this morning, I think this would be nice if you made a mug rug or a coaster from it. I can't remember how big the fabric was. I think it was about 11 by 7 or something like that, that I stitched this onto. So if you stitched this out and then took it out of the hoop and didn't do the hanging loop, and then cut another piece of fabric and put that right side down and stitched around the edge and left a section open, you could flip it out, seal that edge up with a top stitching, and you'd have a nice good size mug rug for, you know, any England fan in your life. And if you can't actually see quite what it says it's coming home, football's coming home. And if you know the song Badil and Skinner, that's I think what that's meant to represent. I couldn't find any white felt, so I've literally done mine in white quilting cotton and then just cut round it. So I just thought I'd mention that. So let me see what you're saying. Hannah, thank you for asking. Yes, she played all 5 of her singles county matches. She was out first every single match as county champion. She lost her first match on Monday morning, but not by a lot, only 3-2. I just don't think she was, you know, match ready, so to speak. But all the remaining 4 matches she won, and she won by big scores. I think she won 5-4 on Monday afternoon, 3-2 and 7-5 on Tuesday, and 7-5 on Wednesday. So she was a star, yeah. So proud. I did post on my personal Facebook page. So Lisa's saying beautiful card. What a sweet card, lovely Alison. Yeah, it is. Wow, beautiful card, everyone's saying about Alison's card. You will treasure that card forever. I will. I've got one of those metal Stampin' Up card displays hung on my wall just above my desk. I have it vertically, one layer on top of the other, and I'm going to pin it on there. What a lovely card. That's stunning, Alison. Well done, Alison. Beautiful card. Well done, Hannah, everyone's saying. Right, so let me move these bits and pieces just out of the way. I'm going to grab my microphone and my iPad, and we're going to go over to my Canvas Workspace screen. So just bear with me. I'll flip the screen over and then I'll bring everything over. So if you can all just let me know that you can see my Canvas Workspace desktop, and I'll try not to cut us off as I'm moving. I've just got a few scribbled notes. Just bring my phone over because that's where I read all your comments. Linda's saying so happy for Hannah. Yeah, she was absolutely amazing. I mean, as county champion, they put her out first, and obviously there was a big, you know, big responsibility on her going out first, and you know, trying to secure the wins for Derbyshire and for herself. And she said to me on Wednesday that she was gutted about losing out to the first match on the Monday morning, but she said I just kind of took it as a friendly match play, and she said I shouldn't have done. And when she came out after lunch on Monday, she had a competition head on, and she just forged ahead, and she led a team from the front, which was lovely. And considering she's probably the youngest, you know, in the Derbyshire ladies team, she did lead from the front, which was lovely. Not the result that Derbyshire as a team wanted, but on a personal level, brilliant for Hannah. So let's see what we're saying. Mandy G's saying, hi Ashley, sorry I'm late. Love the lion. I've been busy with wedding prep for my daughter. 21st of July, 3rd time of trying. Oh no, because of blasted COVID. Well, everybody keep your fingers crossed for Mandy as well then, please. I've been using Canva a lot, thanks to you. Brilliant. Well done. Oh my, well done, Hannah and her caddy. Yeah, and you know what? I didn't caddy. Some of the other Derbyshire ladies offered, and I said yes, more than happy to just be able to walk round and watch her. So literally was there walking around with her, but I didn't actually caddy. So walking 36 holes, you know, on Monday, Tuesday, and then 18 on Wednesday. By the time I got home on Wednesday night, Thursday, I was shattered. Yes can see, yes can see, yes can see, desktop, yes can see, brilliant. Right, okay, so like I say, we're using Canvas Workspace for computer again because I want to be able to use the XY coordinates. So the 2 cards that I showed you were a finished size when folded of 4 inches wide by 5.5 inches high. So they're kind of more or less the size of a UK A6 card, we call it, or a US A2. So one thing I just want to say before I start, I'm just going to go to my YouTube channel. So this is the home page of my YouTube channel. And I do mention this from time to time, and that's why I'm showing it. And I will sometimes say, go to the home page and look for the magnifying glass. I don't know if the magnifying glass shows up if you're looking at this on a mobile device. So you may need to use a laptop or a desktop computer, but you'll know you're on the home page because you'll see this welcome video, which you can stop, at any time. You don't have to watch it. And then you'll see the icons along the top. So you'll see videos, playlists. So again, a lot of the times when I say go and look for the live playlist or look for the Canvas Workspace for Computer playlist, this is where it is. This community tab is where I will, if I remember, go on and post messages if I'm not going to be able to make a Sunday night live. So that's the community tab. And then this is just a bit about me. And here's the magnifying glass. So if you click on the magnifying glass, the word search comes up. And if I just type gatefold and hit enter, it will bring up anything it thinks or has got that word within it. So here's a gatefold card that was made 4 years ago. No idea what that video will be like, because as I say, it's 4 years old, and this was just kind of like a cutout gatefold. But if you scroll down, I made another video. I had to go and have a look for this morning, 6 years ago. Can you believe it? And these were gatefold cards that when they folded back, that I used shapes or letters. These didn't interlock. They literally had letters or shapes welded to them, and when you put the fold of the cards together, it created the letter or the shape. So you may want to go back and have a look at that. But as I say, again, 6 years old, so I've no idea what the quality of the video will be like. But I just wanted to point out how you can search for them, and that goes for anything. Once you're on the home page of my channel, if you want to search for Embrilliance Essentials or sewing or vinyl, whatever, just type in this box or this section here where the magnifying glass is. So I'm going to close that down now because we don't need it, and we've got Canvas Workspace. So the first thing I'm going to do is just drag on a shape, and I'm just dragging on a square. It doesn't really matter. With this shape selected, I'm going to come over to the right hand side to the edit icon. I'm going to untick maintain aspect ratio because I want to size. This is going to be effectively the base card, so I want to size it. So because the finished card was 4 by 5.5, I'm going to make it 8 inches wide and hit enter on my keyboard. And in the height, I'm going to make it 5.5. And I've been able to size it independently because I left maintain aspect ratio unticked. Okay, so what do you want me to do? The heart or the star? So if somebody just types, the first comment that I see coming up on my phone will be the shape I will use. They're all made the same, so it doesn't really matter, but whichever shape you want me to do, I will recreate. Usually Barbara's pretty hot on the keyboard, so I'll wait and see who pops up first today. Star. Okay, I saw Charlotte first. Okay, a few of you are saying heart, and then Barbara's saying star. The first message I saw pop up was Charlotte, and she said star. So I'm going to come over to the left into the basic shapes, and I'm going to scroll down and find the star. Now, you want something really fairly symmetrical, because obviously when this goes together, you want the shape, to look right. I used this first star, but I'm thinking I might try this one, this fatter one. So I'm going to choose the star, and I am going to resize this star to, I did the other two at 2.5, so I'm going to do this. So with the star selected, I'm still on the edit tab. So in the width and the height, under the height, I'm going to type 2.5 and hit, I'm going to tick maintain aspect ratio and then just hit enter. So it's 2.5 high and it's 2.63 wide. So it's not an equal size, but it is, you know, if you put a line through the middle here, it's symmetrical. So that's what I'm going to use. So with that selected, I'm going to come over to the layers panel, which is the 4th icon down, and then I'm just going to hit duplicate, which is down at the bottom, twice. I'm going to put one of them off to the side for later, and then these other two I'm going to use for the base card. So I'm going to position just by eye, and with this star selected, I can see the little blue square in the middle, which is the middle of that star. So I'm just kind of, you know, going to line that up on this outer edge of my base card, and I'm going to do the same with this one. So the point at the top of the star, I want to run through this outer edge of the card, and I'm just trying to check that the blue square is on this outer edge as well. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to come up to the top of the page and select the magnifying glass, and then I'm just going to zoom in on this star. Then I'm going to come back over to the top and I'm going to left click on the arrow that deselects the magnifying glass, and then I'm going to select my star and I'm just going to move it just slightly because I want to try and get the middle of this point on this outer edge of my card. And I might have to do it with my keyboard, I might just have to nudge it manually. I'm not bothered about where it's sitting in relation to the height of the card at the moment. It's just I want to try and get the star as centered as I can on this outer line. So that's the left hand side done for a minute. Now I'm going to come over to the right hand side. This one looks actually as if I've lined it up pretty good, but I'm just going to select it again and just see. So that looks fine. So now I'm just going to zoom back out to 50%. And what I'm going to do now, so you can see hopefully that the right hand edge and the left hand edge of my card are as near as I can get it running through this outer edge. Okay, I could probably use, if I positioned the base card in the X and Y 00 here, I could probably do it, you know, using that. But for now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the X and Y in a little bit. So I'm going to select all three of these elements now, and now I want to line the stars up centrally, like top and bottom on each edge of the card. So I'm going to come back to my edit icon over on the right, and I'm going to come down where it says align, and I'm going to choose the middle icon on this bottom row, and that should then put the stars centrally on the outer edge. There you go. Did you see them move? So they now position centrally to each other, to the card, and they're positioned on the outer edge. Hi Vicky. Vicky saying hi, all listening while I sew/pin. My internet is cutting in and out, so I am about 1 minute 30 behind on the video. I'm seeing the comments answers before I hear Ashley ask the question. Well Vicky, this was for you, so I hope this was what you were asking for last week. And we've got thunder going on overhead, so if you weren't here at the beginning, if I lose you, it's obviously because of the weather, and I will try and come back on. So this is all centered now. So with it all still selected, I am now going to come down to the bottom and I'm going to hit weld. Okay, so just bring that in so you can see it. So I've welded the stars now to the outer edges of my card. Now, to make them interlock, you've got to put split lines in here. Now, if you don't want to mess about doing this in Canvas Workspace, you could literally cut this card with your ScanNCut and cut this with your scissors. But I'm going to show you how I did the two that I showed you at the beginning. So I'm going to come back to the basic shapes and I'm going to just grab a square. I'm going to come over to the edit icon and I'm going to untick maintain aspect ratio. I'm going to make this square 0.04 inches wide, so it's skinny. Okay, this star was 2.5 inches high, so I'm going to make the height of this skinny slither, which is going to be what I'm going to use to cut into these stars. I'm going to make it half the height of the star. So as I said, this was 2.5 inches high, so I'm going to make this 1.25. So under the height, I'm going to make it 1.25 and hit enter. So it's 1.25 high by 0.04 wide. I'm going to right click and make a duplicate. And I'm just going to put the duplicate out of the way. So Denise is saying we've now got thunder also in Leicester. Lynn's saying, hi Ashley from a scorching unbearable 41. Wow. Been sewing since 7:30 a.m. and ready to put both my overlockers in the bin. Sorry I'm late. Hope everybody's okay. Oh, Lynn. Well, hopefully if you're going to leave your overlockers for a little while you're joining us, it will take your mind off your overlockers, and then hopefully when you go back, you should be okay. Right, so I'm going to select this first skinny shape here, which is what I'm going to use to kind of put my break, if you like, in these shapes. And in Canvas Workspace for Computer, once you have it selected, when you get near it and you see the 4 pointed arrows, that means you can then left click and select it. So I'm going to drag it up here and position it. Now I am going to zoom in on this bit so you can hopefully see. And sometimes when I zoom in while I'm recording, my screen can get a bit slow or freeze, so hopefully we'll be okay. So I'm going to select the magnifying glass. And again, sometimes I have to click it a few times, and I'm just going to zoom in on this left hand edge of this card. And then I'm going to come back up to the top and just left click on the arrowhead to deselect the magnifying glass. Now, what you want, this is going to be used, as I say, as your break, a bit like when we make stencils. So you want this to be positioned as near to the top of the star as possible, but it does have to overlap it ever so slightly. It can't be within the shape. And you don't want it overlapping the outside edge of your card. So that's why I've zoomed in the hope that you'll see it better. So basically I've got it selected because I can see the bounding box around it. And I'm going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard, so the four directional arrows. So I'm just going to use the right hand arrow to scoot it over to get it as close as I can to this outside edge of this card without going over it. And then I'm going to bring it down so that it just comes over the top. Now, if I just left click and click away, hopefully you should be able to see that. Now, this skinny rectangle should be on top. But again, because we're using Canvas Workspace for Computer, we can check in the layers panel because we're going to use subtract, and the thing that we use to subtract has to be on top. So if we go to the layers panel, I can see that I've got my 2 lines selected, but the one that's actually selected is second. It shouldn't affect anything here because I'm going to be subtracting it from the base card, but what I can do to be on the safe side is just drag it and move it up so it's now at the top. Okay, so now I'm just going to zoom back out to 50% so that hopefully you can see what's going on. So this is what I've got so far. Now it doesn't matter whether you put your left handbrake on the top or the bottom, or whether you put your right handbrake on the top and the bottom, but they have to be opposite. So if you put your split or brake, as you like, on the left on the top, the one on the right has to be on the bottom. Okay, that's the only thing I'm you know, just want to point out, because they've got to interlock, so they've got to be opposites. So I'm going to select the base card and this skinny rectangle. I'm going to come back to the edit icon. I'm going to come all the way, down to the bottom where it says process overlap. I've got hiccups, and I'm going to hit subtract. Now I'm going to zoom back in, so I'm going to click the magnifying glass and I'm going to zoom back in just on this section again, and then click the arrow to deselect the zoom. Now you can see it's put the split in, but it's just because my rectangle was kind of left of this outside edge, I've got this funny little bump out here. So I'm just going to left click on the base card, and you can see I've got a couple of extra nodes. So I'm just going to drag my mouse over the nodes and just hit the delete key on my keyboard, and it will straighten out that line. Okay, so now I'm going to come back to 50%, and I'm going to do the same now on this side, but put the brake down here. So is everybody with me so far? So I'm going to select my skinny rectangle, hover until I see the 4 directional arrows, and then I'm going to bring this one in and position it roughly by eye. And then I'm going to select the magnifying glass, and I'm going to zoom in on this section of the card. The reason, Vicky, that I used half the height was because I thought that the spaces would interlock better, but you could try it at 1 inch instead of 1.25 inches and see if they, you know, lock together as 1 inch rather than 1.25 inches. So I'm going to deselect the magnifying glass by selecting the arrowhead, and then I'm going to do the same here. So on the left, I've got the split at the top. So on the right, we want it on the bottom. So again, I'm going to use the arrows on my keyboard to bring this up. And I'm just using the 4 directional arrows. So I'm using the up arrow of the 4 directional arrows on my keyboard. And I want to get it as close as I can, but so it's still overlapped here into this space. And then I want to move it over to the left, but I don't want to encroach on this outside edge of my card. So I'm just going to get it really close. And then again, I'm going to come over to the layers. I can see that this is the one that's selected. I'm going to drag it and move it up so I know it's on top. And then I'm just going to zoom back out to 50% so you can see the whole thing again. And then I'm going to select both, come back to edit, come down to the bottom and hit subtract. And again, I'm just going to use the magnifying glass just to zoom in on this area. And then I'm going to select it, and I can see I've got these funny little nodes again here. I just want to try and delete to move that over. Now this one's moved it a little bit further, so I don't want to alter the edge of the card, but I think that will be okay. So let's come back to 50%. As I say, I've not had a lot of time at all to play with this, literally only the last couple of days, and this is kind of what has worked for me. But once you see the concept, then you can all go and try it yourself and have a play with it and see what works for you. So we've got okay so far, with you so far, looks good. So now, if you want to put your fold lines in so that the ScanNCut machine cuts them for you, then again, this is where you can use the X and Y coordinates. So I'm going to select the whole card. Obviously bear in mind that this was 2.5 inches high, and what did I say it was? 2.63, I think I said it was, wide. So if I position the card at the 0, 0 on the X and Y, it's going to put the star there. And then if I try to put my fold lines in, I'm going to be guessing where they are. So if I select this, and on the X axis, if I type minus, what did I say it was? 2.63. So if I type minus 1.31 and hit enter, that's now half the width of what the original star was, and it's put the card now in the 0, 0. So Charlotte's saying, I'm already making notes about what I'd try to be more efficient, also known as lazy. Yeah, just play with it and see. You know, as I said before, you might literally just want to weld your shapes and cut with a pair of scissors. You know, just cut a straight line up the edge of the card and maybe do like a very thin slither of a notch in like we do when we box making. Just put them in by hand. Try that, whatever works for you really. But this is kind of how I did it in Canvas Workspace, so that's literally all I'm showing. But like I say, most Sundays I just kind of try and work something out that works for me, and I show you, and then it's up to you guys to make it work for you. So now let's put the fold lines in. I'm going to choose the path icon over on the left. I'm going to left click once and let go of my mouse. Hold the shift key or the up arrow key on the left hand side of my mouse, not the one that's the 4 directional arrows, the one that's generally kind of like near, you know, near your capital locks, that kind of thing. So I'm not touching the mouse. I've just literally left clicked with the mouse to choose the path. I'm going to press the up arrow down, and now I'm going to drag the mouse down. I'm not pressing anything, just going to drag it down, and that gives me a perfectly straight line. Now, once I've dragged it out, doesn't matter how big or small it is, I am going to left double click on the mouse, and that just anchors the line. With it selected, I'm going to come up to the top of the page and choose the dashed line, and then I'm going to come over to the edit icon, and the width is 0 because it's just a path line, and in the height I want 5.5 because that's the height of my card, and hit enter. With this selected, I'm going to come over to the X and I'm going to position it at 0. No, I'm not. I'm going to position it at 2 and hit enter on the X, and on the Y 0 and hit enter, and that's put my dashed fold line at 2 inches. I can come to the layers tab, come down to the bottom and create a duplicate, or I could have selected it and right clicked and choose duplicate. The duplicate selected, I'm going to come back to the edit icon, and then in the X position I'm going to say 6 and hit enter, and in the Y 0. And by positioning these at 2 and 6, when this folds over from either side, this will be 4 inches wide. Now, you can leave it like that and leave them in exactly those positions, and that's what I did with the red, white and blue star card. But on the heart card, I moved these dashed lines outwards, right and left. Now I moved them 2 spaces with the directional arrows on my keyboard, and that gave me that little bit of a gap in the middle, which I personally prefer, because if you know, for some reason don't get the lining of your card up properly, or you know, something just doesn't go quite right, if you've got a little bit of wiggle room when it folds in, I personally think it looks a bit better rather than the edges of the card, you know, maybe kind of overlapping. But this is personal preference, this is up to you. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do the same as I did with the heart card, which has moved them out. So with this one selected, I am literally just going to use the right directional arrow on my keyboard, and I'm just going to send it to the right 2 spaces, and it looks as though it hardly moves on screen. Now, to save me trying to get a hold of this dash line over here, I'm going to come to the layers panel and I'm going to select my other dash line from here. So it's now selected, and then I'm going to use the left arrow and move this one outwards to the left 2 spaces. And basically what that does, it just makes this middle section ever so slightly wider now than 4 inches. So as I say, when you cut your card and you come to fold your gates in, if you like, this, because this is classed as a gatefold card, having that little bit of a gap I personally like better, but you don't have to do it if you don't want it. So now I'm just going to left click up here and drag an imaginary box around everything, right click and make it a group, and just position it on my mat. Now, if you want matting layers for whatever shape you've used here, to maybe give it a little bit more stability, the way that I did the, I didn't do it on the heart, but on the star, the base was cut in the, what did I say, it was Night of Navy, and the star was cut in white. So the way I did that was right at the beginning, when I used the star and I sized it, I created 3 and I put this one down here, if you remember, as a spare, and it's the spare that I'm going to use. Again, you don't have to do this, you know, it's entirely up to you. So with the spare, which is the same size, if I bring it over here and put it over, you'll see it's, you know, the same size as the one I used to weld to the edges. If I come back over to the right hand side on the far right, back over to the edit icon, and then come all the way down to the bottom to offset and select offset, and I can't remember, I think I used 0.08, but I've not made a note. I've got kind of notes in front of me to remind me of sizes and things, but I've not put the size I did the inward offset. So I'm going to go 0.08. I'm going to say inward. I'm going to, where it says corner type, I'm going to use bevel because it's a star. I don't want rounded corners. And I'm going to say OK. So that now gives me an inward offset of my original star. So I can get rid of this one, which was the 3rd one. I can just hit delete. I'm going to bring this one down here out of the way. I'm just going to make it red in the hope that you can maybe see it a little bit better. And then I'm going to come back to the basic shapes, and I'm just going to grab a box and I'm going to position it over the centre of the star. Now we can hopefully use the no, I don't want it in the middle, so let's undo that. So I'm using the middle icon of the bottom row of the align objects, just so I'm getting this star in the middle of this square. Now again, I want to cut this in half, so I could use subtract, but the way that I'm going to do it is use divide. So I'm going to hit divide, and you may not be able to see this on the screen, but it went darker. So if I left click now anywhere to deselect, I can drag the square out of the way and I can hit delete, and then I've now got two elements. I've got this star cut in half. So if I just make it red again, in the hope that you can see it, then hopefully when I position this over here, it's just going to be ever so slightly smaller. As I say, you don't have to do this. You can leave it as it is. It just might be that it might just give the front of your card a little bit, but you know, a bit more sturdiness, if you like. But again, play about with it. Do whatever you want to do. So that is basically how I did both the star and the heart. Now let me just see what we're saying. Vicky's saying, yes, this is exactly what I was asking for. Brilliant. And you're doing maths in your head, Ashley. Bravo. Yeah, I know. I was going to get my pen and work it out, but I thought I'd try and do it in my head. So yeah, so that's it. To save it, if you want to save it as a working file, again, like I showed last week, come up to the top of the page, go to File, and just choose Save As, and that will save the file as the Canvas Workspace project file, so a CWPRJ. I don't always save them as Canvas Workspace files. The one I showed you last week, I definitely would save, because we could switch out the shapes. So to keep a working file, that kind of makes sense. With this, I wouldn't. I would literally just save it as an FCM cutting file. So I would come to export/transfer. You can export it to an FCM and put it on a USB stick if you don't have Wi-Fi, or you can send it over wirelessly, and that's what I'm going to do now. So transfer FCM file via the internet. That's telling me it's all ready. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to move back over to my other desk. We'll retrieve it, and then we'll cut it and see how this one cuts with the slightly fatter star. But like Vicky was saying, maybe, you know, this star was 2.5 inches high, and I used 1.25 inches to cut into it. But remember, it overlaps the outside edge a little bit, so you're probably taking this down to somewhere around about an 1.1 inches or an inch anyway. But you just play about with it and see what works for you. Doing it this way worked for me on both those cards I showed you at the beginning. So for Vicky, when I just flip back over to my other desk, I'll show you the two cards, and then we'll cut this and see how this one looks. So just give me a minute while I take everything back over to my other desk. And when I'm moving my iPad and my microphone, I'm always worried that I'm going to cut us off. So I'll try my best not to. So let's come back to my overhead, and these are the two cards. So for Vicky, this was the first star I did, which is skinnier here, and this blue one I put my fold lines at 2 and 6, and not sure how well you'll see, but it literally does butt up together. But like I say, if you are maybe putting your own fold lines in, and you know you're a bit off with your creasing, you know, if these kind of overlap, it doesn't always necessarily look good. And if you don't get them perfect here, it will affect how your shape locks together. So that's the star, and this was the first one I did, the heart. And with this one I did what I've just shown you just now. So I originally set the score lines at 2 and 4, but then I selected them in the layers panel, and I moved the right dashed line 2 spaces with the directional arrows on my keyboard to the right, and the left one 2 spaces to the left. And that then just means that this piece here is ever so slightly wider than 4 inches. And if I put the two together, not sure how well you'll see this, but if I butt the left hand edge up of these, can you see this one's 4, this one was where I moved them out, and you can see it's just slightly wider, and that then gives you this little bit of a gap in the middle, which, you know, you might not like, you might not be bothered about. So my ScanNCut machine has just gone to sleep, so I'm just going to switch it back on. So Lie is saying can see, sorry, I can never remember, is it Lie or Lee? I'm really sorry, I'm rubbish with names, but anyway, you're saying can see the desk. Mandy G is saying looks lovely. Corrine is saying sorry I'm late, had family over. Don't worry, Corrine, hopefully it's still being recorded, and you should be able to go back and watch it. Now I can see that there's a shadow because it obviously is going darker here with it being raining, and I know I've said this before, I've got loads and loads of ceiling lights in this room where I craft, but the one that is literally directly over my head is out, and I've tried changing the bulb and it won't work. So I think it's the starter, it's the, you know, those like, these are halogen, but I'm slowly replacing them all to LEDs, and it's the halogen. I think they have like a starter in them, so I think I need to get an electrician in to just put a new starter on it, because I've put a new bulb in it and it still won't work, so that's why it's casting a bit of a shadow now. And I did have a ring light which I could clip over the phone that does the desktop down view, and I can't find it, so I think Hannah's taken it, so I'm sorry, you're just going to have to put up with the shadows. So let's go over to the ScanNCut machine. Has anybody, is Alison on here yet? Have we seen Alison? Need to just go back through the comments. I can't remember whether I've said hello to you or not. I can't see now through the comments, but if I have, I'm sorry if I've already said hello. But Alison has showed your beautiful card, and everybody was saying it was lovely. So Mars, oh, let me see. So Barbara's saying a bride and groom on each side of the heart would make a lovely wedding card. Yeah, you just play around with it. Do whatever you want. I mean, a big flower split down the middle would be nice. A hexagon, anything really. Just play around with it, or literally anything that you can split and then, you know, attach to the outside edges. Marcy is saying by leaving the little gap on the heart card, when you go to close the card, it looks like it locks into place easier. I kind of think it does, but again, I don't know whether that's just, you know, this particular shape or not. So that's why I'm using, I'm glad, you know, you said star, because I was able to use that other star that's a little bit fatter, so we'll see. But I really don't know. But like I say, if you've got any scrap card or paper, have a play with it yourself. Cut it in scrap at first. Don't waste your best card, and, you know, see how it works. Leave the dash fold lines out altogether if you don't like them, and just fold it, you know, with a scoreboard or with a scoring tool in your trimmer, whatever works for you. Right, So we should be on the ScanNCut machine now. So let me find my spatula and stylus. Good idea, Barbara. Mandy's saying, oh, hi Rita from France. Katie Lambert, I'm late. Had to get ready for afternoon fourth fun. Thank goodness for replay. Love this card idea. You're welcome, Katie. I hope you've been having a good time. Couple of champagne glasses would be good. Yeah, definitely. What else? Or even 2 stars, but make them bigger, and you know, maybe kind of rotate them a bit. I don't know, just play around with it. You know, you guys are probably far better at coming up with the ideas than me. First time joining but late, can't wait to watch from the start. Oh, you're welcome. Is it Ali, I can't say that, Ali Dallas? Don't know how I'm butchering that, sorry. But anyway, someone else is saying welcome to you as well. Oh, dearie me. Right, let's go. So we have got, can you see? Retrieve data from Canvas via Wi-Fi. So the icon top right. Not sure if, are you all seeing this now? Seems to be a bit of a delay. Oh yeah, I've seen my phone move now. Righty-ho, so there's the design I sent over. If you want to save it at this point into your machine, onto a USB stick, press save. I'm just going to say save, and I'm just going to put it in the machine for now. Wait for it to save. Something I've not got is a piece of card ready though. So it's saved it into the machine. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to go to edit, and I'm just going to get rid of the star on the bottom now because I've saved it, so I can send it to the bin for now because I'll cut that separately. And then I've just got the base card, so I'm going to say OK, OK. In fact, I'm going to go back because I'll do a background scan. So I just need to get myself a piece of white card. So I'll take the plastic sheet off my mat. I'm going to bring a piece of white card in. So Barbara's saying you will learn loads. Yes, just like that. Is that to the name? Must go, everyone. Have a great week. We'll catch later. Yes, take care, Marcia. Can see. Bye, Marcia. Barbara Harty just got the machine 3 weeks ago. So far, only using it for cutting my stamped images. See you next week. Lies saying, I agree. The tension of the slightly wider back card pulls the overlocking shapes together. Nice. Okay. Right. So hang on a minute while I just put the card away so that I've got more space on my desk. So can you see this? So literally I've just got my regular mat, and I'm just going to position this on my mat, and because it's white and obviously I struggle to see white in the camera, I'm just going to position it in the top left hand corner. At least if I do it there, when I come to drag the shape on the screen, I've got more of an idea of where, you know, I know it's going to cut hopefully in the right place. So let's go back to the ScanNCut machine, load the mat, which you're not going to be able to see for a minute. I'm going to hit the blue icon in the middle, which is the background scan, and I'm going to press start and let the mat roll through, and then hopefully I'll be able to position this card we've just made in Canvas Workspace onto this piece of white card, and we'll cut it. Okay, so I'm just going to just move it ever so slightly. I'm going to go into edit and go into the magnifying glass. I can just about see where my card is, so I think it's going to be okay. So I'm going to say okay, okay, okay. In fact, I'm just going to go back. I think it should be okay. I think I've got it all on. Can always cut it again if I mess it up. So I'm going to press start now and just let that cut through. It says 2 minutes, but that's kind of like the maximum time. So hopefully it should be less than 2 minutes. So let's see what we're saying. Barbara's saying, since you showed us, Ashley, I use the background scan continually. Saves paper, especially the pretty ones. Barbara, it's the most used feature that I use on my ScanNCut machine. Background scan all the time. I use it for everything. So that's cutting away. Let me see if I can just move you down, although there's not that much to see with it being white on white, but so has anybody got any comments or any questions while we're just waiting for this? It's cut the outside, so we're literally just waiting for it to do the fold lines. It's done one already, so it's on the second one. See if I've got any scrap card just to cut the layer out. Just give me 1 minute. Just bring in my scrap folder. Okay, so that's done. So I'm going to say okay and unload the mat. Let's come back to the overhead camera. Trying to keep out of the shadow. And white on white isn't great anyway, is it? So I'm going to turn the mat over and just release it from the mat. Now, the other thing I would say is those places where you've put the break in are stress points. So when you're taking your card off your mat, you know, be mindful not to rip them. So I'll move that one out of the way. So I can see my dash lines, not sure how well you're going to see them here. So I'm going to fold this on the dash lines and just burnish it with my bone folder. And then fold this one and do the same. And then now this can just hopefully interlock and there is your card. So that's the star that's slightly fatter. If I bring the other one in, this is the first one I did. Looking at that, it looks as though I might have done that one a bit taller actually. I thought I'd cut them all at the same size. But can you see this is skinnier here? This one's got a bit more substance to it. So that's that. And then let's have a look and see what we can cut. I've got a piece of pink here. That should be big enough for the stars. So I'll just see what we've got, if we can, how the layers worked. Let's just move this out of the way. Trying to just make space as I go. Put this on my mat. send this back into the machine, load the mat. Let me just flick you over and then I'll see if anybody's saying anything. So Lynn's saying, sorry, got to go, tea ready, take care, stay safe till next week. Thanks for another great live. You're welcome, Lynn, take care. So let's come back to the ScanNCut screen. Sorry, I've just knocked the camera. I'm going to hit the home button, say yes, it's okay to delete all patterns. I'm going to go to retrieve data, this time from the machine because that's where I saved the file. I'm going to jump to the last page because it's always on the last page if you've only just sent something over. Select the file. I'm going to say OK, and then this time I'm going to select the card and go edit and send it to the rubbish and say OK because I only want the little half card elements. So I'm going to say OK, do a background scan and say start and scan this pink piece of card now. The topper would look great in glitter card. Yeah, anything, whatever you think. Right, so it's scanned, I can see the 2 bits, so I'm going to drag these up now and put these 2 bits of the star onto the pink piece of card, say OK, select, cut and start. And then we can cut those and they should sit like the other one did. Okay, that's finished. Okay, unload the mat. Let's come back, peel this away. And because these are pointy, I don't like, digging into the points, so I always bend the mat until they start to lift off, and then I can get my little spatula underneath to help. So I'm just going to move the machine out of the way, and then these hopefully would sit like so if you wanted them to, but again, you don't have to use them. They might just give a little bit of reinforcement to whatever shape you use. So let's turn them over and I'll just put a little bit of glue on them for now and just stick them in place. I'm not going to put a lot of glue on them because I probably won't use this card. It's just for the video, but so I'll pop that on. So I've got a little bit of white showing. Pop that one on. Like so. I'm just going to turn it over and give it a rub from the back to let the glue stick. And then that's kind of like the front of your card, and then you could add your pattern papers on, you could stamp on it, you could do whatever you want. You could cut the whole thing in, pattern paper. If you've got something like Stampin' Up's double-sided designer series paper, you might want to try cutting that. What you might want to do is use designer series paper to cut it, but then this inside panel here, you might want to put a piece of white card in it where you can write, and that might make the base card a little bit more substantial. So just got to work out how to unlock it now. There you go. There you go. So as I say, if you cut it in designer series paper, you'd have a pattern on the outside, you'd have a pattern on the inside. You could put a white piece of card here for writing on, and like I say, to make it a bit more substantial. But it would be all decorated ready for you. So someone's saying you could almost say the C word with this. Yeah, a Christmas tree would look good, wouldn't it? So again, you know, it just kind of locks into place like that. I mean, I personally think they're a bit fiddly, and it's probably not something that I would make a lot of, but you know, Vicky mentioned it last week and I knew I'd done something similar. So as I say, if you want to go and have a look at that video I did 6 years ago where I used letters on the front, or shapes, but they didn't interlock. They were basically just like gatefolds, and these sections folded back and they didn't interlock here. I showed you where that was at the beginning of the video. But you know, it's something if you want to have a play with it. So Karen's saying, thank you, Ashley. Sorry, I have to go. Goodbye. It's fine. And then Li's saying goodbye to Karen. So yeah, so that's it. So Vicky mentioned it last week. As I say, I thought I'd try it out when I got home this week. That's what I've come up with, but now it's up to you to try and come up with something yourself. So Maria is saying lovely session again, Ashley, lovely card. So has anybody got any questions or comments before I wrap it up? So it's 6:15 now, so we've been on like an hour and 15. And for some reason I've gone really, really, really warm, so I don't know whether it's got muggy outside or not, but literally so warm. So I've given myself a little bit of a fan with my card. What's people saying? So Charlotte's saying it'll be interesting. It will be an interesting exercise if nothing else. Lots to learn from this. Just have a go, Charlotte. I would say trying to work with something that is symmetrical might work better initially until you get the concept. So whatever shape you use, try and pick something that's fairly symmetrical. Barbara's saying, great tutorial, enjoyed it very much, thank you, you're a star. Mandy's saying, thanks Ashley, have a great week. Yeah, same to you. Hannah's gone over already for her comp tomorrow. She's staying over, I stayed behind so I could do the live for you guys. So I've now got to leave about 7:30 in the morning to get over there ready to caddy for her. Charlotte's saying, just another thank you, always enjoyable. Susan's saying thank you. Ashley, Li's saying great session, thank you again, don't forget the thumbs up. Oh, thank you. Maria's saying bye, all stay safe and well, and thank you again. Susan Dawn just arrived 2 minutes ago. Oops, don't worry, it is being recorded, so once I end the live, it normally takes a little while to kind of render up, but then you should be able to watch it either later on tonight or tomorrow. Suzanne Dawn. Sue is saying, thanks Ashley, you've given us some food for thought. Thea is saying, thank you again Ashley, very clear instructions, see you all next week. Yeah, hopefully, no idea what we're going to do next week. But hopefully I might have a bit more time this coming week to think about what we can do. So yeah, so that's it. So that's, let me bring them all in. So that's the first one I made with the heart. That was the second one I made to try it out. And this is the one I've just made. Let me get in camera shot. There you go. That's the one I've just made tonight with you. So I can turn my ScanNCut machine off now. So that's shutting down. Right, what we're saying. Thanks Ashley, always come off the lives buzzing with ideas to further experiment. Thanks for all your time. Bye everyone, have a good week. Brilliant, Heather, that's what it's all about. I literally just play around and try and work stuff out, and I work it out, you know, the way that my brain works, but then when I show it you guys, you can all come up with how you would do it. It doesn't follow that you have to do everything the way that I do it. It's just, I do things the way that suit me, if you like. And then I show you, and then you can all run with the idea. So that's brilliant, Heather, that it gives you ideas and makes you start thinking about things to do. That's what the whole thing's all about. I just want you lot to be using your ScanNCut machines. That's all I want. Like I said, when I started doing the lives when we went into lockdown last year, there was so many people that told me at the NEC when the Disney machine was being launched that they'd got ScanNCut machines and they'd not used them for years, and I kind of just went on a bit of a mission to try and get you all using them, and that's all I'm doing. I'm showing you how to use your machine, I'm showing you how to use Canvas Workspace, and then you can put everything together and come up with your own ideas. Barbara's saying, bye all, have a great week. Yeah, take care, Barbara. Cherie's saying, have a good night and all the best to Hannah for tomorrow. Thank you, Cherie. Good luck to Hannah. Have a great time being a caddy. See you all next week, hopefully. Yeah, fingers crossed. Vicky's saying, thank you, Ashley. Did my thumbs up. Oh, thanks, Vicky. And I hope, it's given you a bit more of a guide now into doing what you were trying to work out yourself how to do. So, have a play with it, see what you think. As I say, they're not the kind of thing I don't think that I would be making on a regular basis. But, now you know how you can do this type of thing. So I think that's about it. I can't see any last minute questions coming through. Just going to put the plastic back over my mat to keep any dust off it. Charlotte Keller is saying it worked. Ashley, my machine is getting a good workout. Brilliant. And hope you and Hannah have a great time tomorrow. Oh, thank you. We will do, hopefully. Don't think the weather's looking great for tomorrow, but hopefully it might stay dry. I'm not sure. Right, so any last minute questions or comments before I go? I'm going to go and get a drink and a bite to eat and then just settle down for a chilled night in readiness for getting up early in the morning and going over to meet Hannah. So Susan Dawn saying, not at all a make, but can you at some point go over resticking mats? Yeah, can do that. Maybe next week we can do a bit of a maintenance session, because somebody else was asking about the the alignment thing, weren't they? Maybe we could do try and looking at the alignment, maybe sticking mats, looking after your blade, something like that. I don't know if anyone's interested in that. We can maybe try that next week. Always open for suggestions, because I do, sometimes a Q&A. Yeah, we could maybe combine that, Charlotte. Maybe some kind of a bit of a maintenance and a Q&A session. Yeah. If people are up for that. Hi from Rosyth, Scotland, Margaret's saying. I knew what you meant, Charlotte. A and Q, Q&A, it's all the same, doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe we can do that if people are up for that. So kind of just a general, going over Q&A and maintenance. Yeah, no problem, we can do that. So Susan Dawn's saying brilliant, thank you. And if you can't make it, Suzanne Dawn, they are always recorded and they're in the live playlist and they're always dated. So if for any reason you can't make it, then you know, you can always go to the channel later, go to the playlist section, click on the live streams, and then look for the date. Okay, I can see the numbers dropping now, and I can't see any more questions or comments, so I am going to say goodbye now and good night, and stay safe everybody, and hopefully I will see you all next week. Charlotte's saying, I suspect the maintenance info will spark a lot of questions all by itself. Yeah, okay, we'll do that then. We'll do a bit of maintenance and Q&A all combined. Right, goodbye everybody.